But you are dealing with an INEC that has become a department of APC. Can you imagine an INEC that disassociated themselves from Abure, disgraced him out of their office? And the Supreme Court has now sided with INEC that Abure is not the legitimate leader of Labour Party. And INEC is now telling you they don't understand what the Supreme Court interpreted. An INEC that was represented by a son in that judgment is telling you they need time to understand the judgment of the Supreme Court. You need time to understand the judgment that was given in your favor as a supervisory organization, supervising the political party. You were the first to disassociate yourself from an Abure-led leadership. Now, Supreme Court has disassociated itself and the courts from Abure-led leadership. You are saying that you need time. Do you know what it means? First of all, the judgment of a court is an interpretation. And INEC is saying they need time to interpret an interpretation. What a shame. The whole idea of court is to make clear the wordings of the law. They have done that explicitly. And INEC is feigning ignorance that they did not understand what the court said. And they need time to interpret the interpretation. Is that not enough to sack everybody there for being grossly incompetent? They know what the court said, but they are waiting for order from APC to decide what they will do with Labour Party. Because their intention is to frustrate all the opposition parties, to bring opposition parties to disarray, so that they will not form a viable platform to oppose APC that is now their paymaster. They know that the Supreme Court has given a judgment. First of all, the judgment of the Supreme Court is final. And it's not supposed to last more than 24 hours before it's obeyed. And look at an organization that is paid by the taxpayers of Nigeria, spending months, and yet has not come out categorically clear to make a statement as to who is the leader of Labour Party. Professor Yakubu is the worst thing that can happen to any country in terms of electoral management, in terms of managing the electoral body. Just look at that. The judgment of the Supreme Court. A professor is telling you he does not understand what it means. With all the lawyers that are being paid, you don't understand that the Supreme Court said that the judgment of the lower court that recognized Abure as the leader of Labour Party is hereby set aside. You don't understand it? What is confusing about it? You don't understand the fact that when you rejected Abure, Abure went to court and used the court to force you to recognize him. And even in your portal, you said Abure is the national chairman of Labour Party by order of court. And court is now removing such tag from its head. And you're saying you don't understand. The court said, no, you cannot use the court to force yourself on Labour Party. That's what the court said. And you're saying you don't understand it? No, you do. But your incompetence and the corruption going on in INEC will stop people from doing the right thing. What you're doing is that you want to make all the opposition parties to be in disarray, to pave way for a smooth run for APC in 2027. INEC is playing the script of APC. Simple. Because the judgment of the Supreme Court is very clear. How can somebody go to High Court, win a case, and you, the INEC, called him back based on the order of court and he stated it, went to Court of Appeal, won the case, and Supreme Court gave a contrary judgment, and you still say you are thinking? That's a shame. They are not thinking, they are corrupt. It's as simple as that. They are living in disobedience to the rule of law, disobedience to the Supreme Court judgment. They should be tried for contempt of court. That's what INEC should be tried for. But the judgment is very clear. Senator Nenad Usman was the appellant, and the Supreme Court gave her judgment, said your appeal is meritorious, and you're saying you don't understand it. Abure had a cross appeal, and the Supreme Court said it is unmeritorious. And you're saying you don't understand it. What don't you understand? No, they do. They simply are waiting for APC to tell them what to do. Because INEC under Yakubu has become a department in APC. So Yakubu knows what the Supreme Court has said. He doesn't want to obey it because he's in cahoot with APC. The root of the crisis is in the fraudulent organization of a purported national convention in Nnewi, where people fraudulently allocated posts to themselves and came out and started raising their hands that they are the members of the National Working Committee of a national party without election. By their own admission, there was no election because they said all of them came out unopposed. What other thing do you need to know that there was no election? Have you seen an election of any party that garnered up to 6-point-something million persons and the entire National Working Committee members came out unopposed? That is fraud. Even INEC was not invited according to law. And that was why INEC disassociated themselves from that purported convention. And even when INEC disassociated themselves, you saw the way those people that were claiming that were disgraced. And they went to court. And eventually the Supreme Court said, their regime has come to an end. And if your regime comes to an end, you go in peace and leave the party alone. And the party constituted a caretaker committee, which is the only legitimate leadership of the party. You cannot bring ant-infested wood into your house and not expect lizards to pay you a visit. So all these lizards from INEC, they are paying the opposition parties visits because they brought in ant-infested woods into their house. You have to put your house in order. Can you imagine Abure and his thugs doing everything against the law? And then the other members just looking at them. In Labour Party, there are no elected members at the ward level, at the local government level, at the state level, at the national level. Abure appointed all of them in Nigeria. Have you people been invited for any congress in Labour Party since you started working in New Central? You can contradict me if I'm telling a lie. What kind of party is that? So, a party deserves the kind of leadership that it is looking for. So, in 2023, Labour Party was available and the vehicle was used, and God blessed them with such a wave. But you see, only good character can sustain any of such wave. It has been blown into smithereens. That's why Nigerians must rise up if they want their will to be established in Nigeria. They must enforce their will, because election is the expression of the sovereignty of the people. The sovereignty of the people, their will is expressed through elections. And if they allow themselves to lose that power to choose their leaders, then they will be ruled by tyrants and dictators. In my own opinion, Labour Party as presently constituted is not viable enough to prosecute a presidential campaign. I know what we saw in 2023. You could see, you couldn't have agents in all the polling units, even in Abuja, even in Lagos. And that was how our election was stolen. When we had such a wave, we couldn't defend our votes. Is it now in 2027, when the wave is even ebbing, is even going down? The only choice the Labour Party has is to join the coalition unconditionally, because for me, they are not viable enough to prosecute a presidential campaign. I know what it takes, having been a presidential spokesperson, to prosecute a presidential campaign. And Labour Party as presently constituted cannot go it alone, by whatever name called. So their only option is to join the coalition. And then if they join the coalition, they will be able to get a better deal for whoever is coming from there. But for now, they can't go it alone. They go it alone, they'll fail it alone. And not only Labour Party, any other opposition party as presently constituted, PDP or Labour Party, cannot go it alone because they are practically non-existent. And I'm saying vis-a-vis the ability to conduct a presidential campaign. PDP, Labour Party, they are practically non-existent as a party that can effectively carry on a presidential campaign.
Let's not joke. Peter Obi will be rigged out again in 2027 unless we do some things. There's work to be done. And I'm not talking about campaign. There are millions of Nigerians who already know the value of Peter Obi. Forget all of the propaganda that is out there trying to give a dog a bad name so they can hang it. Nigerians know the truth. Nigerians know the quality and the character and the competence of Peter Obi. And they will vote for him any day. The only problem, as we saw in 2023, was rigging. That is the only problem. Will he be able to overcome in 2027 and be sworn in as the next president of Nigeria? The answer to that is simple. If we do what is necessary. Many of us are putting in a lot of work. We are putting in a lot of advocacy. We're trying to put in and destroy all the propaganda against Peter Obi. And it is commendable. I respect it personally, and I know that many Nigerians respect that many of you are putting in the work. But at the end of the day, success can only be measured if Peter Obi is sitting in Aso Rock as the next president of Nigeria. That is the only success I want. And that is the only success Nigerians deserve and demand. Anything short of that, I am not interested. So the question again I put to you is this. With the way Nigeria is right now, with the way INEC is, with the way the security agencies are behaving, with the way the judiciary is, the security situation in the country, the way the political parties are structured, if election were to be conducted today, can Peter Obi win? And then fast forward to 2027, I ask the same question again. Can Peter Obi win? The answer to that, a simple one, is yes. And in fact, many Nigerians will answer yes. But then they will put a caveat. But they will not give it to him. That was the answer many of us gave in 2023. Yes, Peter Obi can win, but they will not give it to him. Yes, Peter Obi can win, but they will not swear him in. Yes, Peter Obi will win, but they will rig him out. Peter Obi will win if the election is free and fair, but the elections cannot be free and fair because Tinubu is planning to write election. These are the answers that many Nigerians are giving. And I'm not talking about supporters of Peter Obi now. I'm talking about patriotic Nigerians out there. Because of the level of propaganda that has been pushed to paint Tinubu as a rigger of election. In fact, a master rigger. It's a propaganda. Tinubu is only as strong as INEC is allowed to be manipulated. If INEC cannot be manipulated, Tinubu is as weak as any Nigerian candidate. Weak. So how can we make sure that Peter Obi will not be rigged out again in 2027? I don't want to sit here and be doing videos to be complaining in 2027. No. I want to do videos to be celebrating that Peter Obi is going to be sworn in after the elections of February in May 29, 2027. That's what I want to be doing. Celebratory videos. And that is why I am looking ahead and I am seeing the danger signs and I'm calling your attention to it. Don't play Tinubu's game of distraction, engaging in fruitless talks that will distract from taking the fruitful action that will guarantee Peter Obi as the next president of Nigeria. Don't play Tinubu's game. They are all distractions. Without free and fair election, Peter Obi will be rigged out. So the task, the job, the work that you and I have as patriotic Nigerians is, how do we ensure, how do we guarantee that the election of 2027 is free and fair? Many people have their eyes fixed on electoral reforms, and I commend that. But the electoral reform is just plan A, even if we get it. And I'm not saying we cannot get it. Even if they give us electoral reforms by some miracle, I still cannot trust INEC. Maybe you can. I am not as strong as you. I still don't trust INEC. Not to come up with some kind of glitch that will still rig the election in favor of their preferred candidates. So, what can we do? They say they will rig the election of 2027. Yes. Oh, in fact, they say they have written results. Yes. But we go give them fire. We go popo them. So if they are pushing the narrative that they have rigged the election of 2027, what are Nigerians supposed to do? Give up and let them stroll into Aso Rock to continue their term in 2027, to let them stroll? No. We have options that we can try. And we will try them. No matter how difficult or how insurmountable the problems may be, no matter how difficult the options may be, we will try them. And we must try them. If not, Peter Obi will be rigged out again and will be out crying, complaining, oh, Peter Obi is not able to defend his votes. How is he supposed to defend the votes? When the levers of power are already in the wrong hands, in the hands of people that are ready to shoot, to kill. I don't want to complain in 2027. I want to win. When Peter Obi wins, Nigeria wins. Imagine the only politician in Nigeria, I don't even call him a politician, I call him a leader that has had the benefit of being in office and did not steal government money. Even other governors were mocking him that they chop money, they steal money, they loot, they use White Elephant project to siphon public funds into private pockets. So they were bragging about it and mocking Peter Obi for it. If there is no reason at all for you as a Nigerian to support Peter Obi, this reason, is one of the reasons that people like me are pulling our weight behind Peter Obi. No other is it a Tinubu? Is it an Atiku? Which one? Which one? Then you have somebody in the person of Peter Obi who decided to leave money behind. Who decided to invest, to create wealth, instead of just coming up with some scheme like the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Railway to siphon public funds into private pockets while using government money or government name to collect the loan to do the job. If a new Nigeria is what we seek, we need people like Peter Obi, if not for anything. Even if Peter Obi will not make things better, for the sake of sending a message to corrupt politicians out there that the people have woken up, if not for any reason, for that reason, we need somebody like Peter Obi. And the only way he gets to be sworn in is for us to prevent rigging. We must prevent rigging. How do we prevent rigging? I've told you it's beyond electoral reforms. We have to take certain steps and actions as citizens of Nigeria. Political party reforms, citizens' election monitoring, de-weaponization of poverty to prevent vote selling and vote buying, and prevent voter apathy, de-weaponization of impunity, and de-weaponization of political parties. We need to engage in these solutions. Details are in the description. But the most critical one that I am begging you, if you are still watching this video, I am begging you, is to volunteer as a polling unit marshal. The link is in the description. We need 600,000 polling unit marshal. 600,000 polling unit marshal. 3 polling unit marshals per polling unit. And each of the polling unit marshal does not know the next 2 polling unit marshal in a particular polling unit. And why is this that we need polling unit marshals? We have a real-time election results transmission, collation, and display application. We call it Vote Vision. We have another version called Election Guard. And this application requires volunteers at the polling units to enter the results in triplicates. That's why we need 3 polling unit marshal volunteers per polling unit. And once they enter it from the polling unit, bam, the result is propagated to the ward level collation center, to the state local government level collation center, to the state level collation center, to the national level collation center, and Nigerians will be seeing it in real time. So where INEC deviates, we will see it and point it out immediately. And with the next solution, which is evidence gathering, calm guard, we will have the evidence to back it up, such that the judiciary will have no choice but to defend truth. Such that we won't need to depend on INEC for evidence to defeat INEC in court. Such that we will be the ones singing and dancing in victory, and the riggers or planned riggers will be the ones going to court. We can make it happen. But it starts with you being a volunteer. It's free to volunteer. Absolutely free. Volunteer. The link is in the description. Please, volunteer. If you want free and fair elections in Nigeria, come 2027. We need Peter Obi, and if you love Peter Obi, now is the time for you to work for him. By the time it is 2027, it is already too late. Now is the time, the perfect time to prevent rigging. We have to put structures in place to do what? To prevent regain. Very, very important. Don't allow yourself to be distracted with the distraction propaganda that is on. Speak truth to power. Expose their lies. But know that that is not enough. More needs to be done. And it's Project Eagle. And coincidentally, electoral reform is one of the 7 action steps of Project Eagle. But what we're saying is, it is not enough. You need the other 6. And you can be a part of it. What are you going to do? Click the link in the description and join. Start by volunteering. Let's take it up from there. Let's show these people that Nigerians have woken up, that Nigerians can indeed send them packing.